Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
Can you state
She's asking
categorically,
a question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave Vs The MSM. The title of today's presentation is The Elite's Rules. Not for them, but for us, little people. Yeah. That's what they see us as. The little people and also useless eaters. Why useless eaters? Reportedly, they feel as though those of us that aren't in the elite category, the 99.9% of us, we are utilizing resources that were only meant for them. And that's why they call us useless eaters. As far as the rules, how about this, by way of example? Right here in Michigan, our governor, Whitmer, whatever you want to call her, a train wreck is the most appropriate. Rules are for the little people. This from Jim Hoff. Governor Whitmer's top aide defies the governor's travel warnings to hit Florida beaches and posts pics online, then lashes out at Breitbart after she's caught. You see, Whitmer, who, by the way, Michigan is the largest POW camp in all of North America, and she is the equivalent in Hogan's Heroes of Commandant Klink. So, Commandant Whitmer. She had decided that nobody should travel outside the state. No. No one should be going to Florida. No one should be going down south. No, anywhere. Don't even go to Ohio. Across the border. Oh, no. So, one of her top aides, chief operating officer, ends up in Florida for spring break. Oh, yeah. So the rules are for us little people. Stay at home, Janda. Stay at home, citizens of Michigan. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's top aide was caught red-handed partying in Florida for spring break, while her boss still has travel restrictions in place for all the little people in Michigan. Tricia Foster, who was appointed by Whitmer as the state's chief operations officer, posted several photos from the Florida Keys during her spring break, according to screenshots obtained by Breitbart News. Then she lashed out at Breitbart News for publishing the pictures. Yeah, caught red-handed. That's what tends to happen with these cockroaches, right? Shine the light of truth on them. Man, they can't handle it. And then, how about, so that's the chief operations officer. How about this one? Michigan's top health official, that's another one, now travels to Alabama after Whitmer's spring break warning. Whitmer previously said she was concerned about Michigan residents traveling out of state. This from Evie Fordham. Michigan's new health director traveled to Alabama recently, shortly after Governor Gretchen Whitmer discouraged residents from traveling as the state leads the nation in the highest number of, I can't say it or else they'll take me down, right? Cases. Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Director Elizabeth Hurdle was in Gulf Shores, Alabama, according to the Michigan Information and Research Service. Gulf Shores is a popular resort destination along the Gulf of Mexico. Meanwhile, the rest of us little people or useless eaters, well, we were confined to our quarters in Michigan. Okay? So now we got the top health official. Hey, spring break, let's go, kids. Let's take the family. We don't have to follow those rules. And we had the chief operations officer doing the same thing. Now, how about this one? Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer, the one who put all the orders in place, Commandant Klink of Michigan, right? Commandant Whitmer. Gretchen Whitmer secretly vacationed to Florida during Michigan's surge while telling Michiganders to stay home and avoid travel. Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer vacationed to Florida during the recent surge in Michigan while telling Michiganders to stay home and avoid travel. Whitmer specifically attacked Floridians and blamed snowbirds traveling from the Sunshine State into Michigan for the surge. I can't go into the surge issues because they'll take this video down and they'll take down our platform. but she single-handedly was responsible for surges that we saw in March of 2020, later in the summer of 2020, and now in the spring of 2021. Yeah. But that's not all. She just doesn't, creates the rules and then, doesn't follow them. How about this one? Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has urged residents to support Michigan businesses. Good, because that's what all of us have been doing, right? About time she jumped on that bandwagon amid her ongoing lockdown orders. But her campaign recently sent a mailing printed in and sent from Wisconsin. Okay, all you little people only use Michigan businesses. She's using businesses out of Wisconsin. And then there's this. Now, she shut down restaurants, and they're still shut down. I think they're only 50% capacity now. Meanwhile, look at what's going on in Florida, look at what's going on in Texas, and has been for months, right? And here in Michigan, they were completely shut down for many months, decimated it. In fact, it's been said that 3,500 restaurants have permanently closed in the state of Michigan because of her executive orders, which were not based on any science whatsoever. She keeps saying, it's based on science, it's based on data. Really? What's the science? What's the data? I gotta go. Yeah, it is such a goat rodeo. But she's not alone. Just look in your own state. It's happening in every state in this country, well, with the exception of a couple, right? Texas, Florida, South Dakota, and there are a number of other states that have, they've tried some totalitarian stuff and then backed off. No, not here, not in the largest POW camp of all North America. 3,500 restaurants have permanently closed because of her executive orders, okay, which were based on no science and no data. Okay, 32% of businesses in Michigan in the past year have permanently closed because of her executive orders for the little people. 200,000 fewer jobs exist today than existed in January of 2020 because of her executive orders. Oh, little people jobs, they don't really matter. They're not deemed to be essential. That was one of the other things that drove me insane last year when she had the audacity to say there are essential jobs and there are non-essential jobs. Excuse me, every job is essential. Every job gives incredible benefits to every person. I mean, yeah, I know. There are days you go to work and you can't stand it. I get it. I get it. But every job is essential on so many different levels. And she is out there in her totalitarian thug administration saying, you are essential and you are not. How does that, tell me how that makes people feel. Self-worth is incredibly important. And every person's job is essential. The audacity of these totalitarian thugs is off the charts. So then, she decimated, with her executive, decimated the restaurant industry. I got this email the other day. Hi, Dave. Just a quick heads up. Today, Representative Debbie Dingell, totalitarian thug, who inherited the congressional seat from her totalitarian thug husband who was there for, 50 years, 60 years. And his father was there. I mean, it's all totalitarian globalists. And this one, Dingell, goes hand in hand with Whitmer. Okay, look at today, Debbie Dingell, now remember, they decimated the restaurant industry, right? With their orders, executive orders. Will be a server for an hour at Miss Kim's restaurant in Ann Arbor to highlight the need for Congress to pass the Raise the Wage Act. These are the same people that decimated all these jobs. Raise the Wage Act and end the sub-minimum wage for tipped restaurant workers. Hard to get a tip when executive orders close down the restaurant on no data and no science. I mean, the data out there, there's data out there that shows that 1% of cases that were generated at the beginning of this whole thing came from restaurants. Yeah, there's your data. Okay. Dingle, oh, how wonderful of her, the elite Dingle, will serve food and drinks to customers and talk to restaurant workers about the struggles they face being reliant on tips to make ends meet. These thugs shut down the whole industry, decimated the industry. And they're doing this kind of stuff, and they expect everybody to go, oh, thank you, Debbie. You care so much. Gretchen, I hope Gretchen's going to be there. Oh, she cares so much. Maybe she'll serve me a cinnamon roll. Oh, thank you. I mean, this is a modern day let them eat cake moment. And then we have this, and I spoke about this before. It upset a lot of progressives when I spoke about this. Tough. Truth hurts. Gretchen Whitmer board finds folk hero Barber, Carl Menke, who we've interviewed on this platform. Just go back on all the videos on YouTube. We initially had it on the Insider Insight show as our subscription service. Put it over here for free. Subscribers asked I do that. It's a great interview. You got to watch it with Carl Menke. He's fantastic. Incredible freedom fighter. Gretchen Whitmer board finds folk hero Barber, Carl Menke, $9,000 for carrying a comb in his pocket and attending a protest. A regulatory board appointed by Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, the Commandant Klink of Michigan, levied $9,000 in fines against a barber, Carl Menke, who defied her lockdown orders this past spring. Carl Menke repeatedly refused to close his shop in Owasso and won several court orders against Whitmer and Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel as they sought to punish him. This from Kyle Olson from Breitbart. They lost, Whitmer and Nessel, they lost so many times in court against Menke, a judge finally ordered Whitmer and Nessel to stop pursuing the 77-year-old barber. Now, the Michigan Board of Examiners slapped Menke with several fines totaling $9,000. The Detroit News reported, quote, for violations that included carrying a comb in his pocket, a concealed comb, carrying a comb in his pocket, ready for this one? Accumulating hair and neck guards on the floor at the barber shop. Can you imagine going to a barber and having hair land on the floor? Oh, in all my years, have I ever seen that? Oh yeah, every time I go to a barber shop. Okay, we'll go. And participating in last spring's haircut rally outside on the Michigan Capitol steps. What has the data and science said about being outside? Yeah. I remember here in Michigan a year ago, you couldn't cut your lawn. You could not buy plants. You could not do garden. I'm not kidding you. You couldn't buy paint. You couldn't buy flooring, carpeting. No, you weren't supposed to go. You could do things. And that was based on data and science. And all of us kept saying, show us that data and science. Never saw it. Why? It doesn't exist. So good old Carl got hit with $9,000. And some of those fines are associated with carrying a concealed comb. Imagine if he open carried a comb. Can you imagine that? Or imagine if he had an automatic comb. You think maybe the next thing she's going to do, as I mentioned before, limit the number of teeth in this comb? Yeah. I mean, imagine if he had a suppressor or silencer on the comb. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah, one of the real concerning things is how many people outside that window in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor say, oh, okay, whatever you say, Commandant, whatever you say, I will go, no matter how ludicrous it is. And that's a real concern. And the question is, why is that the case? And it's because of the propaganda psyops that the deep state has been running through the bought-off lamestream fake media for decades. And that's why it is imperative that you stay informed and empowered through independent sources, of which we're one. But there are many. Single best thing you can do, ditch your cable bill. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Save you $100-some a month. And sign up for independent news services. For example, in ours, $9 a month. All you need to know. Information you'll never get through the bought-off lamestream fake media at DaveJanda.com. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Today's topic on my Operation Freedom Briefing that I used to put on YouTube, or YawnTube, that we call it, because you can't go into great depth here without getting deep-sixed. On DaveJanda.com, right now, I have a new Operation Freedom Briefing. So you go to DaveJanda.com, it's free. Right-hand side of the homepage, it's Biden's Declaration of Dependence, not independence. That is Declaration of Dependence, based on that goat rodeo of a speech he gave this past week. If I did that here, the channel would get taken down. That's where we are. So, my Operation Freedom Briefing that I did for years on YouTube on Tuesday morning, we now supplant it with Dave Vs The MSM, and Operation Freedom Briefing still exists, but it's at DaveJanda.com, free right there. And take a look. We have a lot of other free interviews there with Dr. Lee Merritt, with General Michael Flynn, with Erin Marie Olszewski, a nurse on the front line from New York City who was screeching about what was happening with Cuomo's policies a year ago. Got in a lot of trouble for doing it, but she was right on target. A lot of interviews there for you that are free. Please take advantage of them and then network them to anyone and everyone you know. I thank you for your time today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.